What is going on, people? Welcome back. Johnny here, and we will pick up with Gotrik momentarily. I'd like to say thank you for the comments that keep coming in. Flaming arrows would be very useful. I'm sure that's a medieval mod. This episode is going to see us doing several caravans and being very busy fighting battles and trying not to die. So, get ready for some excitement. As you can see, we're packing goods in the vault. Gotrik is still working on finishing up in the fermentation room. I've put some shelves around with wood because we're constantly refueling everything all around. And otherwise things are alright. The repair and the armor making's going well. We've researched plate armor, and it's about at that time that a large force of Beastmen skyfalls via magical means into our hospital once again. This is going to be an ongoing problem, and I'm not sure what to do with it. Apologies if I am struggling for breath. I'm still a little bit under the weather, but I am recovering. Nonetheless, we have to get the crew lined up here to fight these dastardly beasts. Beasts will be my next game. I might take Beastmen to space, I'm not sure. These dudes with the giant axes are a major problem because they'll sever limbs with almost no effort. We have to get the magic going on some of these big buggers. If there's any decent ones, I'm not opposed to capturing them. I think that would be pretty cool. I do like to have a decently mixed hold this time around. Not trying anything purist in terms of dwarven race, but I do want most of the colonists to be dwarfs because that is the theme of this. We're looking for other greedy people around that want to help us gather massive amounts of gold and fight to defend it. So we have to lure them out. I keep sending people over there to do so and then trickling them back out to us, but eventually we just charge in, give them the business, but they do manage to destroy a damn good chunk of our hospital before we get to that point. We've taken some reasonably significant injuries too. That's a bit of a problem because the hospital's destroyed, so that's going to hurt us a bit, but we'll get there. We may have to set up some temporary shelter here. Regardless, time to clean up this mess. We're going to have a major problem. We did manage to turn one person to gold with Gotrik's spell, which will net us another, I think, 250-ish gold. So the gold pile continues to grow. I've been considering putting the gold count on the episode covers on YouTube. So what do you think about that? Let me know. I can keep doing, or I can start doing that. I might just start doing it regardless. It's not that big of a deal. So cleanup is going to be a big hassle once again. It really sucks to lose all those beds and stuff. Also, people are injured and won't go get tended either. I'm finding that very frustrating at the moment. People are also tired now. It's 1 in the morning and they've been battling the Beastmen for hours. It did take a while to lure them out of the hospital before we gave up on that attempt. Next, we get some breachers coming in, and we're not really recovered at all from the previous assault, so there's really not much we can do. We don't have time to go man the war machines and try and lob rocks at them. It's just not going to work out because they're on top of us already. So, breacher hammers make quick work of even the sturdiest dwarven walls, and I do feel like those, to some degree, broke the game. Not that I haven't added a ton of shit to this game that is potentially considered broken as well, so I guess I'll quit my bitching now. Regardless, they're getting ready. We lob some magic arrows at them, and some mundane ones as well. Eventually, they make their way, and we have our melee forces ready. Gotrik hits one with a well-placed magic arrow and drops him. The breachers are coming in hot. I don't want them to start smashing up other shit. The magic's doing its thing pretty awesomely. Some dude's riding a muffalo trying to do some breaching. So I'm trying to spread out my melee folks here to do the most damage possible and tie up as many people as possible. I should go tie up those bowmen because they're really kicking my ass. I also should have used a Beulah snare on a few of them. That would have dropped a bunch of them straight away and potentially caused an earlier break. But I had my hands full and I was worried about the injuries we had previously sustained. This goat riding dude over here, I think his name is Dog and he's riding a goat. It's going to be tough to catch with these short dwarven legs and the injuries we've taken. Just have to keep throwing people at the forces of theirs that are coming at us. And I'm going to start sending them after the bowmen because they're the major problem at this point. I like how they all just kind of move around each other. Gotrik's got a few of them on him, but the dwarven armor should hold up. A flash storm strikes at that point as well. Shocking, right? It doesn't take terribly long before they're fleeing. Just a whole lot of melee and fisticuffs. Gotrik's hiding by the door. He chased somebody down over there. And again, another massive mess and some more walls to rebuild on the outside before we can get things going. I believe... Oh, we have this person here that's alive that's wearing really good armor, plasteel plate armor that we can repair up. And we did make a temporary triage room, if you will, in order to get everybody in one spot for tending. Still hasn't gone the most fantastic as it could. We do end up with a few infections. The Psychic Soothe ends at that point too. We did capture Ethan, the Beastman. We're going to make him a full-time cleaner when he comes on board. He does have some passions for, I believe, construction that we can leverage, though. I consider capturing Green as well, but after I decide she's probably been laying too long and she's not going to survive, we just decide to strip her. She did have that plasteel armor. That will be useful. Our prisoner came down with gutworms right about that time, so I don't know if that Beastman was sort of a Trojan horse of disease, but regardless, it didn't work to spread to the hold. Fortunately, the Dwarven gods were with us. Cuthram lost his left hand. We took some reasonably decent injuries during that. We do need to get working on mechanical limbs, so it's going to be a shift in priority in terms of research. There's some saber tusks lurking around. I think they're eating the bodies that we've stacked up haphazardly. And Ethan, our prisoner, does go berserk. Fortunately, Gotrik comes down with his transmutation of the unstable mind. Is able to stop him from smashing the door, cast the spell, and at first I thought the door was going to fail, but it has a lot of hit points, so which I guess stands to reason given what it takes to build it. So anyways, we open the door a crack, hit him with the spell, he's good as gold, and back to business. I'll give you a teaser though, given his situation in the high psychic drone that's going on for females. He does break again in the same manner, and we have to go there and cluck him over the head. You can see he's already berserk again. It's a frustrating situation, and that's one of the ups and downs of the magic, is that at least it doesn't give that catharsis. There, one good crack over the skull. Did 51 points of damage. It was pretty significant blast, and you could have taken it easy on the guy, but on that beast lady. But whatever, she'll be one of us eventually. And no need to screw around worrying about ideology and trying to convert her. We do have to get our wall outside rebuilt. Blaststone goes on a mental break as he's out and about trying to retrieve some stuff. And it's about at that point that I notice we have all the armor we need to complete our quest. The mental breaks just pour down upon this episode. It's not good, but the mess, the injuries. We do finally get some honey, so you can start making mead must and then turn that into mead. So that's a fantastic step too. We will have a ton of stuff we're going to sell, and our gold pile, at some point, our gold pile will grow dramatically. The bodies are rotting and making a major stink outside. We really need to get that flame gun, but it's a lot of research to get to that point. So the Mornfang pretty much rule the roost around here, and I'm just gonna let them. When the Skaven pop up, they can do some fighting for us. I do later realize the extreme value of those Mournfang, and we may be selling those dudes off. Some cooked cure or cooked pickling falls nearby, but we haven't done the research to actually do anything with it. But I believe we can use it in regular meals, so I am going to eventually bring it in, see if we can put it to use. Doesn't make sense to look gift horse in the mouth, so to speak. Blaststone's working with Ethan on the conversion, but Ethan is still pretty upset. We do finish researching medicine, and then we jump into replacement body parts. The solar flare ends, which was completely meaningless, and the high psychic drone for females ends. Gonna make another room for making medicine in, and our art room is just too big at the moment anyways, so I did have to plant some stone salve. We need both types of herbal meds in order to make medicine, so we put some shelves in there to store various things on. We're gonna need smoke leaves, cigarettes, those types of things will be made in that room as well. And it's time for a caravan. We can meet that trade request, get our winged boots, and make friends with people. So we're going to pack up all the garbage. We're also going to bring all of our silver in anticipation of a big purchase. While it does take them absolutely forever to get this caravan together, the horses that I selected for them to ride stay down in the south, and they do everything else in terms of loading. And then at the very end of the day, it's 1 a.m. They finally come down, mount up, and take off. I don't know how they didn't have a mental break. It was a brutally tough caravan to put together, but it's 2.5 days away. They have 70 days of food. So there we go. We're actually going to visit Mount Gunbad on the way through, see if we can get some trade going with our dwarves. And we do get a jabberslythe quest nearby. Excuse me. So we're going to send Hayes over to take care of that along with someone else. Now, the problem is we don't have a lot of animals left, and we don't have a lot of food left for traveling. So we have to figure that situation out. But nonetheless, we're going to take Blaststone, Hayes, a couple hosses, and we'll be on our way. We do get a trader that shows up as well, and make a masterwork cape. Trader doesn't offer us a ton of stuff, but the value of the Mournfang becomes apparent at this point. We do have one Mournfang still present in the base, I believe. Oh no, they're both there. They're just getting packed up. Our caravan gets jacked by some Ungors in a chaos spawn, and it's a little bit problematic since those dudes are ranged and it's terrain with good cover. So we're going to have to hide behind a rocky wall here in an old building and see if we can lure them in and smash their heads open. We do have a little bit of magic we can toss at them, but sadly not a Bula's Snare, which would be a fantastic spell in this situation. So we're going to send Jagged Rock over to see if he can hit him with a Gleaming Arrow, and then we'll all hide and see if we can take him down piecemeal with the melee. We do have one person who does have a crossbow. It's a crappy Skaven crossbow. We're still working on getting some legitimate weapons. In terms of Dwarven equipment, I'm going to try and buy a lot of Dwarven equipment that takes gold to make, and therefore that will save me the trouble of using my own gold to make it, although we will end up with some pretty mighty crafters before too long. Jagged Rock knocks that Ungor's head square off his body, which is pretty awesome. And the other guys chase down Molten Eyes. Jagged Rock's laying in wait, laying in the weeds, if you will, and two Ungor come around. So a little bit of a battle breaks out there, but it doesn't take long. One of them decides to join us. There's a thing about Beastmen, and they will join you if you defeat them because you're stronger. I'm going to change that and make it they'll only join you if you are Beastmen. But for now, Colgar joined. He's a pretty Shiza-pawn, so we've decided to cut him loose, banish him, and then plus he's missing a leg. And I don't want any pyros in my dwarven hold, so we sent him packing, which is going to cause a mood issue for our dwarves, but it is what it is. So we reformed the caravan. They didn't really make it too far traveling through those mountains. They'll carry on their way. Hayes and Blaststone finally make it over to leave the map with the baby horses. They do have a slight problem in that they really don't have much food. They're traveling 2 days. They only have a day and a half of food. So a debate on splitting the other caravan and sending a ton of food back. They're never going to make it there and back because I did turn off all the pemmican that shows up at the jabberslythe site because that seemed broken. So anyways, we send Despy, a horse, and a crap ton of food back along with a bedroll, and he's going to go meet up with Hayes and Blaststone, and then they'll all join, have plenty of food, and they'll go take out the jabberslythe, leaving Jagged Rock, Cuthrim, and Kaza to do some trading and carry out our trade quest. So the caravans do merge, and they're off to fight the Jabba. Back home, everything's a damn mess. We really need a full-time dedicated cleaner. As soon as Ethan joins, it's going to be a much tidier place to live, I promise you. And Hyena is taking up the role of warden around the hold. Probably she could clean up in there too, make him a little happier, but he's coming along quickly. Won't be much more time. Another ambush happens on our caravans, and it is also the caravan that is carrying all of the wealth. We do have to set up a meditation spot for Jagged Rock because he won't be able to cast his spell again if he doesn't meditate shortly. But nonetheless, he does have some magic power stored up. So he manages to drop one of the Chaos Warhounds straight away, and Jagged Rock and Cuthrim charge in with their weapons and go to work in the old-fashioned way. Caravan battle won again. How many times will these dudes be assaulted? I'm going to have him meditate, and then we're going to skin out of here back on their journey. So we have 0.8 days and 0.1 days to their first destinations. Meanwhile, short-staffed at home. I have to do some manual cleaning. I had everything working great. I don't want to screw up the work. We make it to Gunbad, and Mount Gunbad has some decent trading options for us. We do kind of go bananas here, make a massive trade, get rid of all the weapons. I do buy a Wand of Resurrection. I toss it around about a potion of crafting, but I'm just not sure. We sell a bunch of clothing, hats. They do have 200 gold, which we purchase as well. We sell the unicorn. I was intending to sell that when I took it on, and it's just that time. I do buy a potion of crafting too, learning potion crafting. And carrying on to meet our trade quest with Cheda. That was our goal of this whole caravan in the first place. Sadly, some Thrumbos show up back home, and we don't have an easy way to take them out. Despite our nice armor and pretty dwarven skills, those dudes pose a problem. It would be nice to bring them down. A magical delivery arrives at that point, a bunch of kibble that takes out part of my roof. We do meet a trade caravan on the road, but we really have nothing to offer and no money. So sadly, we have to let some pretty solid looking stuff go. We are going to make outside of the front hold area. Oh, they make it to the jabberslythe. Anyway, we're going to make a zone with embrasures so we can stand and shoot at any mad animals that come in, and it's going to destroy our traps, but it's high time we got some form of better security going. There's a lot of carcasses around. You'll see no longer does pemmican show up everywhere. I did fix that with the latest rollout. And then busy on orcs and goblins, and I'm working on adding something special to the ogres, which is currently a donators only mod, but they'll have some new cool stuff here in the next handful of days as well. And I fixed defects across the board, not to mention adding tons of shit to the Empire mod. This dude is in there and he won't come out if he doesn't see ya. So we send Blaststone in to try and lure the bugger out. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon when we're dicking around here. I'm afraid to get too close because if he gets a hold of Blaststone and we don't get him magic down before that, Blaststone will die. So it's at that point that our other caravan gets ambushed again. And I pull Blaststone out of the jabberslythe's lair. and prepare for a different strategy. 4 people, but we have 3 over here. So this is the 3rd time this caravan has been assaulted. They really have something. Something's making them very visible. Maybe it's the Minotaur. I don't know. He probably stands out a bit. An Empire Spear on this dude, which doesn't do much good. We're going to have to start charging. I'm going to have to split up my melee attacks. I can't focus on one person. There's just too many of them. Meanwhile, back at the jabberslythe lair, Despy is going to kind of set himself up. I did a check on their speed, and Despy is actually slower than Blaststone. The battle rages at the other site. Cuthrim has 2 guys on him. We really need to drop a few of these dudes with the quickness if we're not going to get our asses kicked. But Jagged Rock does the job, and then Cuthrim does. It's just a little cleanup required after that. They did leave us 4 dwarven beers. How delicious. I'd like to not let any of these schmucks go if I could help it. And I think I can, actually. But only if Jagged Rock gets into him. Pow. He's going to keep running. There we go. Now we got him. No survivors. You fool. Fool. Trying to attack our sturdy dwarves. Now, back to the jabberslythe. We've all entered the cave in an attempt. I try some magic to see if shooting near it will bring it out, but it doesn't seem to bother it that we're blasting in its cave. So I sent Blaststone in, and it's touch and go. He tries to pick up some gold, and that sets the fucker off. So he takes off running, and Hayes now is trying to target it with the spell, but the cave is dark, and the walls are in the way, and it's a major problem. Blaststone is running his ass off. Despy panics and takes off as well. But finally, Hayes is able to target his spell. Blaststone does get assaulted, and we have to set it to finish off. But the magic goes off without a hitch. We finish off the jabberslythe, and we claim its gold. We're also going to butcher it because its hide and its tongue are worthwhile. I'm going to let our new Beastman friend have a go at eating that tongue and see if he can get himself some chaos magic. Blaststone is injured. We have to stand around and wait for this butchering to happen despite the injury. And speaking of which, no, not speaking of which, on the other side of the map, we complete the trade quest. We do buy a love potion and a scroll of curing poison. They had 15 gold. We do have our winged boots. We're going to travel over and visit the Empire, folks. We still have a decent amount of gold on hand. Reforming Caravan as well. We take all the little bits and pieces that are there, but it's not much. I'm going to try and gather some weapons as well, and we must not forget the gold. So we've added 220 gold, plus the 250 from the statue earlier on, plus the 15 we bought this episode. Please leave a like if you're enjoying. Comment. I love you all. I will see you next time.